Hello, my loves. I want to talk a bit about how celibacy fosters self-love. So I have been celibate for a while, and it was a it wasn't even a choice. It didn't feel like it was a choice. It felt like it was necessary, right? I had been in a emotionally abusive relationship when I was younger, and the neural pathways were already set for how I reacted to certain words, to certain situations. It was already set. So even when I left him, men that I was with after, my responses were the same because they were created during that time. I first had to realize that I had to stop dating. The last guy I was with, he was a really nice guy, but I found myself doing the same patterns of stopping doing do everything possible to make his life easier, to make his life better, to accommodate him, and give up so much of myself. And he had never asked me to do it, but I realized that I was doing it anyway. So I had to stop and say, Janae, no, you need to be by yourself. You need to figure out why this is. You know why it is, but go deeper into it and then create new pathways of healing, new pathways of thinking so that this doesn't happen again. So I started my celibacy journey. That was years ago. But what I want to say is that you learn how to drop back into your body, how to find your own pleasure. Because the thing is, when you're in a state such as mine, where I was doing everything for everybody else, I always centered men first. I have always centered men first in pleasure. Always. Since I first started being intimate with a man, it was always his pleasure first. And I'm not new in that. Numerous other women have done that or have realized that they do that, right? And so because I've always centered the men's pleasure first, I didn't really know what brought me pleasure. I faked so many orgasms, it's ridiculous, throughout my sexual experience, right? It's not that I haven't found pleasure in the process, but the actual act itself, please, I was a pro. I was a pro and making them think that they were the best. But that was because I wanted to get to my best part, which was the cuddling after. And the longer I was celibate, the more I realized that was what I wanted, the intimacy. I wanted the affection, because that was basically what I would give them my entire body just to have that moment of real connection, if they even cuddled afterwards, right? Because I was not choosing the best winners, okay? Let's be honest. But that was the moment that I was looking for. And so through my celibacy journey, I've realized, oh, that's what I want in my future partner, is somebody who can, you can just like cuddle with no thought of taking it further, but just to exist and have and feel that connection and feel that warmth, right? I'm a very affectionate person when my spirit feels safe enough to be affectionate with you. But especially in a relationship, I'm an affectionate person, but I've never been secure enough to ask for it or to reach out for it, because I've always felt that I would get judged or whatever reason if I'm too affectionate, like I'm too much, right? And in addition to dealing with the emotional abuse aspect of how that rewired my brain, I'm also on the spectrum as well. So add on to the fact that half the time I think I'm a burden to the people I love. So as well as that, right, doing journaling around that, how does that make me feel? How does that factor into me reconnecting to myself and finding my own pleasure, right? And it was, as I said, that idea of wanting that connection, that human connection, oftentimes not with the act itself. And the thing with celibacy is that you get to a point to where, like, people have told me, my brother-in-law is always like, I'm going to hook you up, I'm going to find you somebody because you've been without a man for too long, right? Everybody, once they find out how long you've been celibate, if you've been celibate for like more than 2 years, people are like, oh, we have to break the drought, we have to find you somebody. No, when you get to a certain point to where you're like, you understand your true power and your true divine energy, and you're like, I'm not just willingly giving that away to any old Tom, Dick, and Harry. No, I don't even feel like looking. I'm focused on my own happiness. I'm focused on building my business and everything. Like, I'm not even concerned with looking. And I know people who are in relationships and stuff, they're like, but we don't understand. Why don't you want to have a partner? Of course I want to have a partner. As I just said, for this whole 5 minutes, I want somebody who's attentive and, communicates and all of that. So of course I want a partner, but I'm also not stressed about it because I know my own power and I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm at. The thing is, because I know I'm going to meet that person. I'm going to meet the person I'm meant to be with. That's written in the stars. That's destiny. That's one of the things that I'm destined to do, is to meet the person that is supposed to be like my soulmate. So I'm going to meet him regardless. And so right now, part of my journey is working on myself and finding peace within myself and balance within myself. And then I understand that the person I'm meant to be with will flow in at that point, right? But I think it's important to take time to be celibate, to better understand yourself. Like, I made a whole, on a vision board, I made a little picture thing that had some poems that represented the kind of love I wanted. But also, so I'll show you really quickly. So this was a picture I had found, an image I had found. And it was just like, the first time I saw this, I was like, yes, that's it. It's just cuddling on a couch. And just for the act of feeling close like that. And at the bottom, it says, I love you in any condition and under any circumstance. Like, that's the vibe. The other two poems on here is, I loved her not for the way she does with my angels, but for the way the sound of her name could silence my demons. The other one, I love that you are my person and I am yours, that whatever door we come to, we will open it together. And then at the bottom, I do a love ritual, and it's whether land, air, or by sea, I call my true love to me. So, all through my celibacy journey, this is what I've realized that I'm looking for. And I solidify it even more. So I think it's important to take time when you are on any spiritual journey, especially if you're a woman, to be celibate for a while. Get to know yourself, get to know your body, get to know what makes you pleasurable, center yourself. And when you move forward in your next relationship, keep centering yourself and stop centering it should be equal. It shouldn't be you centering the entire time. Like, he should also center you. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be equal. It can't just be like he's only there for his own pleasure and you're there for his pleasure. So who's there for yours, right? So, yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. You leave me your thoughts. What are your thoughts on it? Are you on your celibacy journey? Are you not? Have you made any thoughts or breakthroughs for yourself? I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.